Anthropic just changed the Mythos story. The capability class is now public as Claude Fable 5, but the trusted access version, Claude Mythos 5, is still gated. That split matters. Fable 5 is the public Mythos class model. Mythos 5 is the sharper trusted access version for selected users and high-control workflows. Anthropic's answer is a safety switch. Requests in sensitive cyber, bio, chemical, or distillation areas can route away from Fable 5 to Opus 4.8. This did not come out of nowhere. Before Fable 5, Anthropic routed Mythos through Project Glasswing, $100 million in model credits for vetted security partners. And Mythos 5 is the upgrade to that trusted access path. More capability, more control, and still not the same thing as a normal consumer launch. The reason people are talking is the gap. Reported Mythos numbers make it look less like a routine model upgrade and more like a new tier of autonomy. On a reported Olympiad-style math benchmark, Mythos is cited at 97.6%. Claude Opus 4.6 is cited at 42.3%. But math is not why the model became controversial. The concern is what happens when that reasoning turns into cyber execution. One cited vulnerability benchmark says Mythos developed 181 working exploits. The previous best model produced 2. Another reported number, 73% success on expert-level cyber tasks. That is the part Anthropic frames as dual-use risk. The strange part is how the public story started. Fortune reported that Anthropic had exposed draft details about an unreleased model before the official announcement. That leak mattered because the reported framing was not better chatbot. It was a model that could outpace defenders. Then Anthropic put the model into its own frame, a restricted security deployment, not a general consumer launch. 6 weeks later, Anthropic published the early Glasswing results. This is where the story becomes concrete, because the debate shifts from capability claims to vulnerability counts. They reported 23,019 potential vulnerabilities across more than 1,000 open-source projects. Independent reviewers checked a sample of the findings, and Anthropic reported a 90.6% true positive rate. They also estimated 6,202 findings as high or critical severity. One named example. Mozilla used the program to identify and patch 271 vulnerabilities for Firefox 150. Cloudflare reported more than 2,000 high-confidence possible vulnerabilities across critical infrastructure. Anthropic also described a banking partner catching a $1.5 million fraudulent wire transfer mid-execution. Their warning is blunt. Models are reaching coding capabilities that can surpass almost everyone at finding and exploiting vulnerabilities. That is the real timer. Not whether the capability exists, but who gets it first, and whether defenders can patch fast enough. So today's update changes the controversy. It is no longer simply, Anthropic will not release Mythos. It is, which Mythos class capability gets public access, and which stays gated. Anthropic says those safeguards trigger in less than 5% of sessions, so most use stays on Fable 5, while the highest risk requests get redirected. The price is also real. $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output tokens. Not cheap, but no longer invisible. There is a trade-off. Anthropic says Mythos class model traffic is retained for 30 days. That gives safety review more room, but it also changes the privacy calculus. That is the new debate. Is Fable 5 public enough to prove Anthropic is not hoarding the capability, or gated enough to prove they are still controlling the sharp edge? The old story was, a powerful model they will not let you use. The new story is more complicated. They released a public version, but with Rails. For developers, this is no longer hypothetical. Mythos class reasoning can now enter normal workflows, starting with code review, vulnerability scanning, and automated triage. The real question is whether the software ecosystem gets patched before this class of capability becomes ordinary. So the honest summary is this. Fable 5 makes Mythos class AI public. Mythos 5 keeps the sharpest version gated. And Glasswing still explains why people care. And the next question is the technical one. How do Fable 5's safeguards actually work? That is the next video.